They called me Iyara, a name the overseers stamped on my collar. I never chose it. My real name died the day my wings were cut. The sky over Zelith Prime was a veil of rust, bruised with smoke and thick with the scent of iron. I remember the fields of crystal grass that once shimmered violet under 3 suns. Now ash covers everything. The Iron Garden, they call it. Ironic, because nothing ever grows here. My cell was one of many carved into the stone cliffs overlooking the broken land. The walls pulsed faintly with neural inhibitors, humming lullabies to keep us docile. Rows of us, females of the Archaea species, were kept here for one purpose: reproduction. Our species had nearly vanished in the last war, and those who conquered, us, the Virilan Dominion, found a new use for our bodies. They treated us like rare livestock. I had been assigned to Sector 7G, where guards wore obsidian masks and spoke in numbers, not names. Every morning, drones scanned our vitals. Every evening, they dosed us with sedation mist, sweet and metallic. It dulled the soul faster than it did the nerves. But I resisted. Not in action. My body obeyed, walked, breathed, endured. But my mind, I built a world inside my skull, one, where I still flew, where I wasn't a prisoner, until the day they brought him in. It started like any other cycle. The air hissed as the door split open. I blinked through the mist, expecting another Virilan scout or a new buyer from the auctions. But the figure that entered, he was different. No scales, no armored carapace, no black visor. He was human, tall, covered in dust and scars. His eyes were pale amber, like a desert before sunrise. They bound his wrists in magnet cuffs and pushed him into the observation dome across from my cell. I hadn't seen a human before, only heard rumors. Some called them invaders, others saviors. This one looked too quiet to be either. The guards spoke in clipped tones. Experimental hybridization trial. Let the breeder adapt. Monitor vitals. Begin sequence after acclimation. I shivered. Another trial. We were never asked. Later that cycle, they moved me into the adjoining chamber. Glass walls, medical tables, and a ceiling full of mechanical arms like silver spiders. I refused to cry. That's what they wanted. Tears to prove. They'd broken you. The human sat chained at the center. His head turned slowly as I entered. No leer, no hunger, just sorrow. That surprised me. I stood, rigid. "Don't touch me," I whispered, expecting him to pounce. Instead, he closed his eyes. "I wouldn't," he said, voice hoarse. "I know what they're trying to do, but I won't be part of it." I stared. No one had spoken to me like that in cycles. "You're not like them," I said, unsure why I spoke at all. He shook his head. "Name's Kaelen. I was captured on the fringe colonies, smuggling food to the refugee rings. They're using me like they use you." Kaelen. The name echoed in my mind like a stone dropped in still water. "They want us to bond," I said coldly. His eyes met mine. "I'd rather die." "So would I almost said. But instead, I sat down on the floor across from him, letting silence stretch between us. That was the first time I felt something crack. Not fear, not submission, something else. Maybe hope, maybe madness. In the days that followed, we were left, together more often, watched by silent sentries and cameras embedded in the walls. But Kaelen never touched me. Instead, he told stories. He spoke of Earth's deserts, the twin moons of Iyara, the underground resistance hiding in wormhole clusters. He whispered plans of escape like lullabies. "I know a way out," he said one night. "But I need your help. These walls, they use a resonance frequency. If we can short the harmonics..." "You'd trust me with that?" I interrupted. He smiled, just barely. "You haven't killed me yet. I should have stopped listening, should have kept my mind shielded." But something inside me, some fragment of the girl I was before, leaned toward him. That night, I dreamed I had wings again. Then came the test. A new overseer arrived, Commander Threx, a hybrid bred from a Virilan queen and some other unknown species. He had silver veins coiled like vines on his neck and eyes like liquid glass. Cruelty radiated from his every motion. "They haven't bred," one drone reported. Threx sneered. "Disappointing. Perhaps pain will inspire compatibility." He motioned to the guards. They dragged Kaelen into a plasma frame, chaining his wrists high, his shirt torn. I screamed, "Stop!" He looked at me. "You care," he said, intrigued. How curious. Perhaps emotional trauma will accelerate the process. He activated the voltage. Kaelen clenched his teeth but didn't cry out. My claws dug into my palms. Something in me boiled, broke, burned. "Leave him!" I roared, hurling myself at the glass. Threx tilted his head. "Fascinating. So you can feel." After that, we were separated. I was thrown back into a containment pod, sedated heavily. Days blurred. Kaelen's face haunted my dreams, bruised and still. They underestimated us, all of them. The opportunity came during a routine scan. One of the service drones malfunctioned mid-cycle, its emitter sparking. I knew what to do. I tore the antenna from the drone, jamming it into the floor vent. The feedback. Pulse surged through the inhibitors, overloading them. For a moment, the entire facility flickered. I ran, my legs were weak, heart pounding. I passed cells of other girls, all dazed and wide-eyed. Some reached out to me. I paused just long enough to override the lock on Kaelen's cell. He fell forward as the door hissed open, coughing. Blood crusted his temple. "You did it," he whispered. "We don't have long," I said, pulling him to his feet. Sirens blared. Footsteps thundered down the corridor. Together, we ran, through halls of humming machines, past vats of unborn hybrid, fetuses, past broken ones like me who never got the chance to fight back. We reached the launch bay, abandoned except for one transport vessel, shaped like a dagger and just as fast. Kaelen slumped into the pilot seat, fingers flying over controls. I held the door as guards approached, firing pulse weapons. A bolt seared, past my head. Another grazed my arm. "Go!" I yelled, diving in. The ship launched, breaking through the outer dome. Alarms screamed behind us. Then, stars, endless stars. I collapsed onto the floor, trembling. Kaelen turned in his seat. "You
saved me." "No," I said, tears slipping down my cheeks. "You reminded me I was still alive."
Freedom doesn't taste like I imagined. It's cold, metallic, tinged with pain. My arm throbbed from the plasma burn, and Kaelen's shoulder bled where the guards had grazed him. But still, we were no longer prisoners. The stars were everywhere. No ceiling, no walls, no watchers, just the endless dark and the echo of our breaths in the stolen ship. Kaelen's fingers danced over the control console. The vessel shuddered as it punched through hyperspace lanes, leaving Zelith Prime and its horror behind. "We have a 20-minute lead, maybe less," he muttered. "They'll track us through ion residue. We need to disappear." I leaned against the wall, blinking through dizziness. "Disappear where?" He turned, eyes fierce despite the sweat on his brow. "There's a place, Caraxis Rift. The Dominion won't follow us through the storms, but we'll have to survive the ride." I nodded. I didn't ask what the rift was. I didn't care. Anywhere was better than where we came from. We didn't speak for the first hour. I focused on wrapping my arm, biting back groans. Kaelen worked in silence, recalibrating the ship's cloaking shell. I noticed how his hands trembled, but not from fear, from exhaustion. "You need rest," I said quietly. He shook his head. "Not until we're safe." Something in his voice stirred me. He didn't act like someone who escaped for himself. He acted like someone who still carried the weight of others. "Why did they take you?" I asked. He hesitated. "Because I helped someone like you escape before." My breath caught. "Another Archai?" He nodded. "Her name was Lunith. They caught her, tortured her. I went back for her. I failed. The pain in his voice was deeper than any wound. I didn't ask what happened next. I didn't need to. You didn't fail, I whispered. You tried. That matters. He glanced at me, then returned to the console. But I saw it. The flicker of gratitude. 2 hours later, we neared the Caraxes Rift. Space twisted ahead of us, colors bending, clouds of electromagnetic debris swirling like a living storm. The rift wasn't a place, it was chaos given form. No one follows fugitives into this, Kaelen said. Even bounty hunters know better. I see why, I murmured. The ship trembled as we crossed the boundary. Lights flickered, gravity wobbled. Sparks flew from the side panel. Alarms screamed. We're leaking coolant, Kaelen shouted. Override stabilizers! I reached up, fingers fumbling over alien symbols, relying on the memory he'd trained into me during escape. Locked in! The ship dove. Hard. We plunged into the storm. Lightning danced across the bow. Space twisted, then folded, then cracked. I felt pressure behind my eyes, like my skull was turning inside out. And then, silence. The ship floated in an eerie, calm pocket of the rift. Static buzzed, around us like whispers. We made it, Kaelen breathed. Then he passed out. I dragged him to the med bay, patching his wounds with instinct more than knowledge. His pulse was erratic, skin fever hot. I peeled away his torn shirt to reveal the brand across his ribs. A Dominion mark. The same sigil burned into my collar. I traced it with trembling fingers. Not out of pity, but fury. These scars were proof that we both came from cages, but maybe together we'd never go back. As he slept, I explored the ship. The quarters were cramped, but I found water, rations, even a worn leather-bound journal tucked in the side panel of the pilot seat. Kaelen's handwriting filled every page. Notes, maps, names, coordinates, all. Archae. He had been tracking survivors, dozens of them. Some escaped. Some didn't. Next to each name, he'd scribbled phrases like, status unknown, confirmed terminated, possibly hidden. He wasn't just a smuggler. He was trying to save us. Why? What did my people ever do to deserve such a stranger's sacrifice? When Kaelen woke, his first word was, Iyara? I turned from the corner where I had been watching the rift swirl around us. You're safe. You passed out. He winced, sitting up. Are we alone? I nodded. For now. He stared at me for a long moment. Then, you read the journal. I didn't deny it. Why were you tracking my people? Kaelen leaned back, eyes closed. Because no one else was. That answer hit harder than I expected. There's more of us? I asked. His gaze met mine. Scattered. In hiding. Some enslaved like you were. Some deeper in the Dominion's core worlds. I've spent years trying to locate them. Why? I whispered. He didn't answer right away. When he finally spoke, it wasn't a whisper. It was a vow. Because someone needs to care when the galaxy doesn't. We spent 3 more cycles in the rift. During that time, we grew closer. Not in the way the Dominion wanted. Not with forced intimacy or artificial bonds, but with shared silence, with understanding, with small moments. He showed me how to read Terran star charts. I taught him how to blend Archae ink root paste into a wound salve. We ate together. We bled together. We began to smile. One night I found him staring at a hollow image, blurred and static. A woman's face, human, soft features, long hair, distant eyes. Who is she? I asked. He swallowed. My sister. Her name was Celine. Was? They turned her into a transmitter. Her brain, wired into a signal array. She became part of the Dominion's surveillance network. I tried to cut her free. She begged me not to. I put a hand on his. His fingers tightened around mine. We sat like that until the rift sang morning. Then, everything changed. A signal blared from the console. "Tracking beacon just lit up," Kaelen said sharply. "Someone breached the rift's outer layer. They're coming." I ran to the viewport. A vessel emerged, sleek, black, gliding like a serpent through broken stars. I recognized its shape. The Hollow Fang, a bounty ship belonging to the Draven. Syndicate, the Dominion's most ruthless hunters. "They must have piggybacked our jump path," Kaelen muttered, flipping switches. "I can't outrun them here. The rift's too unstable." "Then what?" I asked. He looked at me and smiled the way someone does before doing something insane. "We lure them." "What?" "There's a sub-pocket deeper inside the rift. Electromagnetic anomalies there fry any scanner. We hide in the storm, make them follow, and collapse the pocket. You want to collapse a gravitational fault with us in it?" His smile widened. "Unless you've got a better idea." I didn't, so I grabbed my blade. The chase began. The Hollow Fang fired warning shots, its plasma lances slicing past us. We weaved through asteroid shrapnel and debris clouds. The rift screamed around us like a dying god. Kaelen dove into the sub-pocket, venting false signals. The Hollow Fang followed. Activated the core destabilizer, locking it into the gravitational seam. The timer began ticking. 30 seconds. The Hollow Fang launched grapple lines. 20 seconds. They latched onto our hull. 10 seconds. Kaelen triggered the emergency eject. "Hold on to something." I wrapped my arms around a beam. The detonation. Rigor. The rift buckled. A scream echoed. Not mechanical, not human. Something else. Like a tear in the universe. We spun into blackness. When I woke, we were floating in a static cocoon. Kaelen lay beside me, unconscious but breathing. The Hollow Fang was gone. Vaporized. We'd survived. Barely. I turned my head, staring into the void beyond the viewport, and for the first time in cycles, I felt something I hadn't dared to believe in. Freedom. Real, messy, bloody, miraculous freedom.
The rift spat us into an uncharted corridor, battered and bruised with barely enough power left in the ship to keep lights flickering. We floated through black silence, adrift like broken bones in a sea of stars. Kaelen still hadn't woken. His pulse was slow, his breathing shallow. I wrapped him in thermal mesh, held his hand, and whispered words in Archai, a language no one alive remembered anymore. That's when I saw the beacon. It pulsed green across the navigation interface. Faint, encrypted but familiar. "Sanctuary," I whispered aloud. The coordinates pointed to a sector labeled Orion's Scar, a gash in the cosmos carved by a war so old no one remembered who started it. Kaelen had marked it in his journal, circled 3 times. One word beside it. Ankara. Didn't know what Ankara was, but I was out of options. The journey took 4 days. I rationed air, recycled every drop of water, and sang to the ship to keep my own mind from unraveling. It was madness, I know. But sometimes, madness keeps you alive. Kaelen stirred on the 5th day. His eyes opened slowly. "Where are we?" he croaked. "Following your ghost maps," I said gently. "You wrote Ankara in your book. We're almost there." His brow furrowed. "You trust me?" I nodded. "You earned that." He smiled weakly, then passed out again. We arrived at Ankara on the 6th day. From the outside, it looked like a dead rock, gray, lifeless, wrapped in radiation fog. But as we descended, something shimmered beneath the clouds. A city. No. More. Like a memory stitched into metal. Towers bent like tree roots, half grown into the canyon walls. Neon veins pulsed under transparent bridges. Ships floated without engines, held up by magnetic drift, and at the very center, an obelisk of black crystal humming with energy. The ship's voice crackled. "Welcome, Drifter. You have entered the memory market. All knowledge has a price." Kaelen stirred beside me. "This place is dangerous." "Then why bring me here?" I asked. He turned, pain flashing in his eyes. "Because Ankara trades in what can't be stolen, memories. And if we want to find the others, I need one back." They found us the moment we landed. 3 figures approached, robed in liquid fabric cloaks, faces hidden by shifting masks that mimicked your own expression. The tallest spoke. "You seek restoration." Kaelen nodded, swaying on his feet. "I need access to Vault 9. The figure bowed. "Payment?" Kaelen glanced at me. Her story. My blood went cold. "What?" The figure smiled. My smile. "One memory, one price. We do not steal. We extract." Kaelen's grip tightened on my hand. "Only if she consents." I hesitated. My story, my pain, was all I had left that proved I existed. The cages, the scars, the burning of my wings. To give that away. "Do I lose it forever?" I asked. The figure tilted its head. "You forget it, but it becomes currency, traded, stored, studied. You may never feel the same again." I looked at Kaelen. His jaw was set. He would stop me if I said no, but I didn't say no. I stepped forward. "Take it." The extraction chamber was warm, filled with soft light and sound like rainfall. I lay down, closed my eyes. "Begin," the figure said. And I felt it, like fingers slipping into the folds of my mind. I screamed without a voice. I saw flashes of the iron garden, of Threx, of my sisters crying in the night. I saw myself breaking, surviving, clawing through days that hated me. Then it vanished. Silence. When I opened my eyes, I remembered Kaelen. I remembered escape. I remembered starlight. But everything before that, blurred, hollow, a whisper I couldn't catch. Kaelen stood beside me. "Are you okay?" I swallowed. "I think I'm free." The vault opened. Inside, Kaelen found what he was looking for, a memory locked behind triple encryption. It flickered to life in the air between us, projected like flame. A face. Not his. Not mine. Archai. Tall. Regal. Crowned in bioluminescent tendrils. Her eyes shimmered with green light. Designation. Viraya. The voice said. High matron of the Western Cradle. Presumed extinct. Kaelen leaned in. "This was the one who escaped before you. The one I tried to help. She made it here. She left a message. The recording played. To any Archai who find this, I was the first. But I won't be the last. You are not lost. You are not broken. Come to the coordinates I left behind. We are rebuilding. We are alive." I covered my mouth. My heart pounded. "Others made it?" Kaelen nodded. "And we're going to find them. But Ankara never lets anyone leave easily. When we returned to our ship, 3 hunters stood waiting. Not Dominion, not Varellan collectors. One stepped forward. Her skin was white as frost, her eyes like shattered glass. She wore bones on her belt, small ones. "We have your memory now," she said. "And it's worth more than you know. We want your voice next." I raised my blade. Kaelen stepped in front of me. "You'll take nothing else." She smiled. "You think we don't know what you are, Kaelen? The traitor, the memory thief, the half-blood who thinks he's a hero." He froze. "Half-blood?" I turned. "What is she talking about?" Kaelen didn't speak. The collector laughed. "He's not fully human. His mother was Archai. He was bred in a lab to mimic your biology. Why do you think he can sync to your neural resonance? Why do you think he feels what you feel?" My world tilted. Kaelen whispered. "I didn't know. Not until Ankara. I only found out when I started remembering things I shouldn't. Things from your people." I stepped back. "You lied." "No," he said. I didn't know what I was until I met you. The collector raised a gun. You'll both fetch a fine price. But she didn't get the chance to pull the trigger. I moved first, faster than I'd ever moved before. My blade found her neck. Kaelen spun, shooting the other two with stunning precision. One fell with a cry, the other tried to flee, but I tackled her. I looked into her glass eyes and saw fear. Tell them, I hissed. The Archai aren't extinct. We're coming back. Then I let her live, so the story would spread. We didn't speak as we flew from Ankara. The city faded behind us like smoke. Kaelen sat in silence. I stared at my reflection in the cockpit glass, wondering who I was now. A survivor, a fighter, a forgotten queen. You should hate me, Kaelen said finally. I didn't answer. He turned. To me, eyes heavy. But I swear to you, I never meant to lie. My blood may be twisted, but my heart, it chose you. I looked at him, really looked. He had risked everything for a people he didn't even know he belonged to. He had suffered for us. Maybe that made him more Archai than most. I don't hate you, I said. But if we're going to find Viraya, if we're going to save the others, there can't be any more secrets. Agreed, he whispered. We charted a course to the hidden colony. The stars ahead pulsed like drums guiding us home. Behind us, the memory market would keep the story alive. Ahead of us, freedom waited. Not the kind they sell. The kind you bleed for. The kind you steal back from the dark. We followed Viraya's coordinates through 3 star systems and 1 dying nebula. The path she left us twisted through radiation belts and magnetic storms like a coded prayer. Our engines screamed. Our hull groaned. But we didn't stop. We couldn't. Kaelen barely slept, poring over every note, every fragment, every glyph. Viraya had embedded in the data she left behind. I watched him from the shadows of the ship, still unsure how to reconcile the truth I'd learned on Ankara. Half Archai, half human, built, not born, yet somehow more loyal than anyone I had ever known. The destination was a fractured moon floating above a blue-white planet, shattered by war, stitched together by glowing vines that pulsed with Archai sigils. We landed on a platform made of crystal and bone. Vines shifted under our feet like nerves, and then I saw them, dozens, maybe hundreds, Archai survivors. Some had broken wings, others walked with prosthetics grafted from old Dominion tech. All bore scars, but none looked defeated. I stepped forward, my body trembled. For so long, I believed I was the last. A tall figure approached, taller than me by a head, with silver, markings etched across her cheeks and short spiral-cut horns glowing faint green. She stopped inches away, searching my eyes. Then she whispered, "Iyara." I gasped. "Viraya." She embraced me, her touch warm and trembling. "You made it," she said, voice breaking. "I left Ankara's message centuries ago, but I never stopped hoping someone would hear it. The colony was called Erethrin, meaning reshaped light. It had once been a Dominion prison world, abandoned after the mines collapsed. Viraya had led the survivors here, building a sanctuary from salvaged wrecks, forgotten biotech, and old Archai rituals nearly erased from history. She showed us everything. Nurseries filled with rescued infants, healing chambers where wings were regrown with patience and care, and a hall of names where every lost sister's memory was carved into stone. I wept there, quietly, not for myself, for those who never escaped. That night, Viraya held a gathering. Fires lit the central dome, casting shadows across our faces. She stood before us with her wings outstretched, partially regrown, shimmering with starlight. "This is Iyara," she said. "She escaped the Iron Garden. She carries our blood, our defiance, and our fire." All eyes turned to me. I had no speech prepared, just my heart. "I thought I was alone," I said. "But you are proof that survival is not defeat. We are not victims. We are heirs to a forgotten power, and I swear, no cage will ever hold another Archai again." The crowd roared, Wings rose, tears fell. For the first time in my life, I felt like I had a people again, but peace is never permanent. Kaelen intercepted the transmission 2 days later, hidden in an old Dominion frequency. It repeated one word, eradicate. We played it on a secure screen. The voice was familiar, cold, precise. Threx. I lost her once, he said. I won't again. The hybrid took her. The others hide her. But I will find her. Burn them if you must. Varia's expression turned to stone. How does he still live? Kaelen grimaced. He's tied to the Dominion High Command. They gave him immunity after the rebellion ended. He's been hunting escaped Arkai ever since. Quietly. Efficiently. I clenched my fists. Then we end him. We didn't wait for them to come to us. Varia proposed a strike team. Small, fast, deadly. Just 6 of us. Kaelen would guide us in through Dominion protocols he still had access to. The rest of us would disable their tracking systems, erase the Arkai database, and finish Threx. I wanted to kill him myself. Not for revenge, for justice. The Dominion Citadel floated above Viralon Prime, a city built on blood and shadow. We arrived, cloaked, dropped onto the rooftops under cover of a synthetic eclipse. Kaelen hacked the gates. Virea led the charge. I followed, blade in hand, heart hammering. We moved like ghosts, silent, precise. And then we reached the central vault. Inside, rows of stasis pods. Dozens of Arkai women, still alive, still trapped. I pressed my hand to the glass of one pod. The woman inside opened her eyes. They were filled with silent pleading. We free them all, I said. Kaelen nodded, but then the alarms howled. And Threx entered. He hadn't aged. Same pale skin, same silver jaw, same black eyes that never blinked. Iyara, he said. You still glow? I raised my weapon. He laughed. You always were a poor investment, fierce, disobedient, flawed. Kaelen stepped in front of me. Threx narrowed his gaze. Ah, the prototype. You were never meant to feel, just mimic, copy, perform. But you fell in love. How? Human. Kaelen shot first. Threx moved like lightning, deflecting the pulse, diving behind a console. His body twisted unnaturally, augmented by decades of illegal tech. I charged him, blade high. We clashed, steel against bone, fury against cruelty. He caught my arm, twisted hard. I screamed, flipped backward, struck the floor. Kaelen launched himself, at Threx, fists glowing with energy. They fought like mirrors, same moves, same instincts. Brothers, clones. Broken reflections. In the chaos, Virea freed the captives. Alarms echoed, sirens screamed, guards stormed the corridor. I rose, blood in my mouth, blade in hand. Threx stood over Kaelen now, laughing. You're a failed blueprint. Soft, weak, sentimental. I'm not your reflection, Kaelen gasped. No, Threx sneered. You're her pet. He lifted his blade. I roared and struck. My blade pierced his spine. He froze, shocked, and then he fell, face first, dead. We burned the Dominion vault that night, freed the Arkai, deleted every file with our DNA, our names, our histories. The past could never be used against us again. We returned to Erythrin with fire in our chests and hope in our hands. That was a year ago. Now, the Arkai walk openly in the colonies. Our wings return. Our voices rise. Virea leads the council. Kaelen trains new guardians. I teach the rescued to fight, not with rage, but with purpose. Kaelen and I, we found something neither of us expected. Not just freedom, not just healing. Love, real, unearned, undeserved, but true. I no longer fear cages. I no longer run from the past, because I know who I am now. I am not a weapon. I am not a product. I am not a slave. I am Iyara, daughter of Ash, bearer of light, and I wear my scars not as shame, but as wings.